Hello and welcome to another Warcraft the audio commentary. Today we're going to be watching Game 3 of the Inquisitive HawK versus HLA ZOTAC Spectacular. Yeah, we're going with that. It's Game 3. We've watched Game 1 and 2, and if you haven't, check it out at the YouTube. This game is being cast live at twitch.tv/pureby, and it'll be up on YouTube tomorrow at youtube.com/sirpureby. And I'm going to keep saying that at the start of every video for just a little while, so people realize, I don't know, that I'm doing these live now. Why not? Yeah, so let's go ahead and introduce our players, even though we kind of have. We have Inquisitive HawK spawning in the upper left. He's going to be the pink human. He's been the pink human in every one of these games. And then down in the lower right, we have HLA spawning in as the blue undead. The map is Crystal Kingdoms 1.3. You might have seen this map before. It's a ladder map, but it's not a ladder map. It's like 1.3. So on the ladder you have like the 1.0, I guess. This is the 1. Apparently it's good enough to go into ZOTAC map pool. These little guys, I don't know which one it is that shoots little shadow strike things, but they're evil. So those guys are in the middle. You can see basic icy mammoth types of things and creeps. Not too bad of a map as long as you're not in the middle. In the early game, dealing with that shadow strike can be kind of hard. But then you got to deal with like these guys too with some of these expansion slots, that's a red right there. So there's a lot of experience on the map, as you can see. So that's like my quick little rundown. We didn't really do the whole map, but whatever, we'll see it. Over here we can see that HawK is going to go ahead and begin creeping out pretty quickly. HLA does scout it, go with this Acolyte. Gonna try to get the steal on the XP. Won't quite get it. It looks like we're gonna get a Rune of Watcher, which will allow him to place down a ward. And I think, yeah, that Acolyte's dead. I couldn't see it anymore. I was like, I think the Acolyte died. Over here we can check out what HLA is doing in his base. It looks like a goal opener. Once again, he's really liking the goal opening builds, which we, really for a long time we just didn't see those. I mean, they're good, but you really saw them with the Destro push, that 9-minute Destro push that kind of fell out of fashion. And what we started to see HLA doing really is this meat wagon Destro push strategy, where he gets the Destros and then he makes meat wagons, and he like uses the meat wagons to do the classical, I guess, wagon push, but then he has the destroyers to like completely destroy the army of the human player. So it's actually really cool, and it shuts down the water elementals, and really the human has to wait until he gets like flying machines or something to fight it, because the destroyers are just so powerful against the footmen, and he can't suicide the meat wagons because there's destroyers with mana just like raining down, like 5-6 shotting the footmen. There's nothing you can really do about it. So it's really interesting. I don't know if HLA is the first person to do that strategy, but he is definitely, like I said, we saw a little bit of it about a month and a half ago. We started to see it, and it was really effective then. And so far, it's been, so effective in this series because we're in Game 3, so it's obviously 1-1. Well, I guess unless it's a best of 5, because it could be. I don't know. Well, actually, I do, but I'm gonna tell you that. Well, I guess you'll find out at the end of the game if it's which one it is, because if this is the last game, you'll know. But anyway, so we can just see HLA doing some early game harass with his footmen, or his skeleton and his skulls, trying to take out, maybe, just take out the peasants, maybe a footman or two. His goal here is just to delay, because in 9 minutes is when all of his stuff is like ready-ish to go. He's gonna get around 9 minutes when his destroyers are gonna come out, and a little bit later, maybe a little bit earlier, depending on how he does things. He's gonna have meat wagons. So really, at 10 minutes is when he wants to push. Like 10 minutes is a very solid time for him to push in the game. He says, okay, it's 10 minutes. I want to be taking out an expansion. Maybe a little bit earlier, maybe a little bit later, but it's around the 10-minute mark. And the 9-minute mark is around when all of his tech gets up. So we're going to see HLA, he's coming over here, and he would like to go ahead and just start doing some more harass. We're going to see the level 3 on the Archmage, and he is just going to keep on creeping. We'll pick up a great item to pair up to Vitality. Of course, that gives him 150 additional health, very useful against the Death Knight. But of course, he's got the huge experience advantage right now, which I think is something that we're probably going to see happen on this kind of map, because it's kind of large, like to get from one spawn to the other. And I think it's fixed map, so it's cross spawn. I think. I could be wrong, but I think it is. It would be weird if it was close spawn. I don't even know if you can spawn as a player on these reds, actually, on this map. I don't know. I'm not sure. I should find that out. It's my bad. I should have probably already known, but I don't. So anyway, again, as long as it's cross-spawn, though, for sure, it's going to kind of be an issue for the undead player to get to the human side very quickly to do and harass. So we might even see HLA to say maybe opting at some point for the TS strategy that we saw in the last game, where it was like, well, I know I'm not going to do a lot of early game harass at level 1, so I might as well just go creep a bit, which worked. I mean, he lost the game, but it wasn't bad. But over here, we do see him using that Fountain of Health to go ahead and heal up his Death Knight. He's still got these ghouls just kind of scouting around. Not sure what all of these pings are from, but I don't know. And here we can see HawK's getting the expansion up, and there's not really a lot that HLA can do about it. He wants to harass it, but with this army here, there's nothing he can do. We're just going to see HawK crossing the ice bridge like that. Yeah, look at that. That's not all that cinematic. But over here we can see there is a guard tower up, so HawK knew he could safely leave, more or less, bring in some militia. He knew that there wasn't going to be a lot of a threat to this Death Knight, that's why he completely ignored it. And of course, the big thing about dealing with anybody who's rushing to destroyers as an undead player, from the human perspective, is to go and harass. And so that's your goal, to be able to get to their base and start doing some damage, forcing them, delaying them. Because again, it's very specific. It's 9-minute timing, getting all this stuff down, and then around, you know, on a map like this, 10 minutes is when you're gonna be doing your push. So delay that as long as you can, because it's gonna be like 12 minutes in the game when the human player is going to be really comfortable and feeling safe if he hasn't had a lot of pressure on him. So that's his goal, you know, to put out the pressure first. And plus, because he's level 3, and the Death Knight's not even level 2, that works pretty well too. You know, it's like you can't creep. You're going to have to, like, if you get some experience if I screw up, but you're going to have towers, so it's going to be kind of hard. And you might not get the last hits with units, so you might not get experience like that right there. I don't think he got experience for that. I think the tower did. So again, it's really good to pressure the undead. You don't have to overcommit either, as you can see, because you have this hero level advantage. So you're not really locked in to actually going in and like damaging and trying to kill acolytes. You just have to keep them from creeping, and you know, and keep them right here. You know, ideally make him repair, but you know, it's whatever. So anyway, we're getting at 8 minutes in the game. Here we can see Destroyer Research halfway done, Ghoul Frenzy almost done. Over here we can see statues being pumped out. This could even be, I mean, he could even just go straight into the Destroyer push. It would work fairly well, I think. He's, you know, HawK scouted that, yeah, that's what it is. I need to make towers. And that's the other thing. You have to make lots of towers to defend if he does go full Destro push. But if you make lots of towers, then you're probably going to hold just fine. So I think that's kind of why we've been seeing the meat wagons added in. It's not as risky, right? Because if you have destroyers, just destroyers, you have to do damage. You have to take out the expansion, or you're boned, really. But if you have meat wagons and just a handful of destroyers, then you can use some as statues to heal up, and some as destroyers just for combat units, and the meat wagons to do the siege. And it's not such a bad thing, because even if they decide to go into tanks or something, the meat wagons are still useful. There are some compositions that would, you know, counter that, like Griffin Rider Heavy, but that's kind of an expensive tech to rush straight to when you have meat wagons at your expansion as the human player, right? So it kind of all works together really well. But this game, it looks like HLA doesn't want to do the meat wagons. He actually wants to go straight for the destroyers. Maybe he feels very confident that he can take out this, and I think he probably could, honestly. He's only level 1 masonry. Let's see, what's his second upgrade coming? Nope. So a lot of times you'll see this should, you know, and here we are, 9 minutes and 20 seconds in the game, and he's coming into the base. He has Ghoul Frenzy, he has destroyers. That's 3 destroyers right there. And he's going to try to take out these towers. And if he can take out the towers, then he can take out the town hall. The only thing that the human can do, oh, he's bringing in a sapper. We'll go ahead and take down the spear tower right there, using that footman to tank it with the Finn. And he's got a Zeppelin over here. Do we have a gargoyle on the map? I don't see one. You have to have a gargoyle to deal with this effectively. There's just no other way. You can TP. That's not really effective dealing with it. You can deal with it, I guess, with a destroyer or two, but it's not. The best way is to just get a gargoyle out and then find and kill it, the Zeppelin, so that you can actually go and do stuff with your units. This is not the situation the undead really wants to be in. It's not the end of the game, right? Because he had to TP away and he didn't take this out with his destroyers. But like I said, it's kind of that risky thing again, because he didn't do enough damage. And destroyers that run out of mana, if you have a lot of them, they're not that good. So I don't know how many he has. It looks like only 2, which isn't that bad. It's really not that bad. But he does have to come back. He's going to have to keep coming back. And he needs to be able to find that Zeppelin and chase it down, because that's his only chance. I would not be surprised to see HawK TP out, yeah. Because he knows the destroyers are there. They're just going to chase the Zeppelin down. He might get into a bad situation over trees. You don't want that. So TPing out, you save the Zeppelin for sure. And you don't accidentally lose everything you have. So that's good. But again, a Gargoyle generally serves that purpose a lot better, just because they do like 100 damage a hit. And if you look to see, where's the Zeppelin?
A player's forces are under attack.
Here it is. They have like 575 life, so it's like 6 hits to kill it. It's, you know, and they're both, I mean, the Zeppelin's not very fast. The Gargoyle is kind of fast, but it looks like he's going to use this as like a scout, which is not bad. You know, scout the bridge, the ice bridge right there, because that's probably where they're going to walk through. I think they can walk around this way as well, but they might to go creep this Fountain of Health, but they might not. They're probably going to use this because this is closer. So if they're wanting to attack, you know, that's a nice little bit of vision. And you can also use the Zeppelin kind of as a fake out instead of a scout as well. So, but I think he's just using it as a scout right now. Scouting key information. He scouts the bridge and the creep with this scout. It's a great spot. It's really nice. And it doesn't cost any food to have the Zeppelin. It's just nice to have it. You know, he was using it earlier, and now he's getting a secondary use out of it. And that's always good. Whenever you can get multiple uses out of a unit, you should always do that. Especially Zeppelins. A lot of times you see people just leave them in their base. And you shouldn't do that because they're really good for scouting, actually. I mean, you can just see how much vision this grants. It's an air unit, and it's, you know, it hides and stuff. It's like flying machines, except you don't have to spend food on it. A little bit more expensive, but it's also multifunctional, so hey. Over here we can see level 4 being picked up by the Archmage, or was that, yeah, no, level 2 being picked up by the Mountain King. He was already level 4, he's halfway through level 4. Does get a Wand of the Wind, a great item, gives him 3 charges of Cyclone, and can cast it on enemy heroes, so it's definitely a nice little disable. And of course, he does have Destroyer, so he can eat it. But you know, if he's eating the water elementals, it's just, if you position your water elementals right, you know, and you wait for him to eat one or something, then you can cast those Wand of the Wind charges onto the enemy heroes, and he's not probably going to have a dispel ready for it. Unless he scouted that you have the item, then he probably would, you know, keep at least one open. But even if he doesn't, you know, you have 3 charges, so. What does he get? Mr. HLA over at the fountain? Can't see. Looks like a Mana Stone, I think. Not a bad item. Not a bad item at all. The Death Knight needs mana, and it gives 25% passive regen. You can also use it for 300 mana, which is a lot of mana. But, honestly, it's best to keep it in your inventory rather than use it if you can. Because, I mean, if you need it in an emergency, always pop it. But that 25% additional advantage is really great. Now, we were just seeing both players kind of creeping up right now. Let's see. Oh, a Panda. A Panda third for HLA. Now, that's an interesting choice. I like it. We haven't seen it too much recently. But if you're going Destroyer tech and stuff, then you can totally use a Panda for Breath of Fire. It counters the mass towers pretty well. And it counters, you know, flying machines pretty well. And we have triple workshop down, so that's definitely one of the things that HawK wants to produce is flying machines. And he might have a bunch. Yeah, he already has a ton. So that Panda is actually going to be really useful. The problem is, Panda, he's a level 3 hero. That's who you need him to be. You need him to be at level 3, otherwise it's not that great. But at level 1, he's still okay. It's just not that great. Unfortunately, I don't know what HLA is doing here. He's kind of split up his army, and now he's run all of these destroyers into these flying machines. Gonna have a bit of issue. Could eat these guys right here for some life. Yeah, there we go. And maybe get a coil on him or something. Maybe could take that fight. Possibly. We're going to see that Panda kind of by himself right now. Does get mana stolen from him by Wand of the Mana Stealing on the Mountain King. Also taking a bit of damage, but not really anything lethal. Going to be able to kill one of those flying machines as the human player TP's out of there and just gets a little bit of experience. He does need to get experience. Now, like I said, this is a map with a lot of experience on it, but we can already see a lot of it's being crept out. There's only 1 red left right here, and then various green spots plus this camp that's getting crept out. So, and the Panda's not even level 2 because he got it so late, at like 15 minutes in the game, which isn't super late to get it, but it is when you've been creeping. I mean, you can see the level 3 on the Lich, level 4, almost level 5 on the Death Knight. Over here for the human player, we have almost level 5 on the Archmage, level 1 on the Paladin, almost level 3 on the Mountain. So, but if HLA, it looks like HLA is going to get this red right here, which would be a really good choice, especially if he gives all that experience to the Panda. That would be so good. Don't take any of it on the Lich. Would be really smart. Just give maybe some to the Death Knight to get into level 5, but really getting level 3 on this dude, oh, it's such a big deal. And it looks like, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know. Did he pick up a red Drake egg? Not the greatest item when you're going against mass flying machines. But you can sell it. He might use it for your harass or something, who knows. Did run the Death Knight away. I find that kind of odd. I know it needs the Lich here, I guess, for the DPS, but he could have passed the orb. Or been like smart about it, used the Lich to attack stuff, and then ran the Lich away to not take experience. But it looks like he does have to be a little bit careful here, because here comes HawK's army right behind him. Picks up level 5 on the Death Knight. Pretty good use of the experience. Level 2 is on the Panda now. The Broodmaster. I don't know what I was thinking. The Brewmaster. The Pandarian Brewmaster. And the Lich, of course, getting halfway through level 3 as well. So a decent amount of experience right now for HLA. Up here we can see HawK. He has decided to build a town hall. Of course, he needs to build multiple expansions. Just kind of what you gotta do. Especially when this one has got, well, it's actually got 5,000 gold left. So, those are some pretty big mines. Maybe? No, I guess they're standard. Well, that's odd. So, it's 17 minutes in the game, and there's still 5,500 gold left. Maybe these can't be spawned anymore? Maybe these get more? I don't know. I really don't. I ain't got a clue. But this one definitely only had 10,000 gold, so he's mined 6,000 gold. I guess, yeah, I guess these would be 1250 then. Yeah. I guess it makes sense, because they should be mining out around 20 minutes or so. A little bit later, maybe. They're on track for that. Oh, look at this army that HLA has. He's going full undead air. Look at that. We have been neglecting. Where is this? Oh, there it is. It's out in the front. Okay. So a boneyard. What kind of upgrades? 3 armor upgrades. That's going to be really good. As you can see, these flying machines have just the attack upgrade, but this is an army that's made to last. It's a very durable army. You can see he's got, cool, what a great item as well. A Scroll of Restoration, 300 hit points, and 150 mana for all these units. That's so good with destroyers. Oh, that's so good. And with the Drake here, this is just going to be wonderful, because his army is just going to be really, really hard to kill. And with that, he's got the Panda, so he can just take out all those flying machines. He's kind of said, you have to make flying machines to deal with my army, but I've got like a super durable army, and you can't deal with it. And here we're just seeing HLA dominating this fight. We're going to see 2 of those Wander the Wind charges going off, one on the Death Knight, one on the Lich. Going to eat the Death Knight's one, and he's going to win that fight handedly and just force HawK to run away. Going to pick off that last Griffin Rider, and there's a flying machine here that's going to go down as well. This expansion never had a chance. This army is so good. This is such a smart play by HLA. Look at that. He still has these great scrolls on his Panda. I think he used one of the healing scrolls, or maybe he passed it over to the Death Knight, but look at these guys. Wow. I actually don't know what HawK could do. I've never... This is really clever from HLA, because he said you have to deal with my army with flying machines. There's really no other way to deal with this kind of army. It's a very scary army that the undead gets, very late game. But he's saying you have to deal with it with the, with flying machines. But my Panda's just gonna destroy your flying machines. And so, what are you gonna do? I don't got a clue. I don't have a clue. But he does take out the expansion. He doesn't have an expansion of his own, and that could be his downfall, though. Because this is a very expensive army. It's a very late-game army. Mass Destroyer, a Garg. He had worms in it as well. I don't know if he's going to remake those. Yeah. He said 72 food. He's going to take this gold mine. Okay, fair enough. I was expecting him to take this one, but I guess he's like, well, that's one that he'll expect me to take, so a little bit of mind games going on there. I'm going to try to pick off some of these flying machines, just, keep the ball from getting too large. Because, if he gets enough flying machines, he can take out the air, even though he's going to feed a ton of experience to the undead army. So, it's iffy. But here we can go ahead and see, gonna use that Dragon Hawk to shackle the Red Drake. That's not gonna live very long. He's gonna try to focus down that Red Drake because he knows he can't coil it or anything. Here we're gonna see level 4 being picked up on the Panda using a nice breath of fire, hitting a bunch of those flying machines over here on this side of the map. We do see the split flying machines. Not the greatest situation for HawK because you want those to be all kind of AoEing on the same targets. Otherwise, you know, you're just splitting too much damage everywhere like this. As you can see, the units don't go down very fast, and so they end up being killed really well by the obsidian statue and the scrolls and stuff, and you end up just losing all of your flying machines. So that was a really good play by HLA, but again, you kind of have to. Now the Paladin's getting very low. He's going to use a potion of healing, trying to run back into the safety of these towers. Looks like he's going to make it, but he could still get nuked down at any moment. There should be enough. Yeah, there's plenty of mana to nuke him down, so he's going to have to be really careful. He is using a scroll of regeneration back here. Gonna kind of tank with the Red Drake. It's about to run out of duration, so you might as well just do that. Get a tower down, why not? And there's a lot of really low flying machines right there. We're going to see this Arcane Tower doing work against the Panda, but again, not enough. And level 6 is going to be picked up by the Death Knight. This game is just kind of slowly going further and further into HLA's advantage. Just so clever, and he's going to use this Fountain of Healing. Why not? Just heal up. He doesn't have any statues right now, but maybe he's sending one? No, it's a Garg. Wand of Illusion right here. That could have been really useful. With, you know, you use that on your worms or something. Really just makes HawK mind go into submission, like, oh, he's got too many units. But HawK's probably a good enough player to go, oh, those are obviously illusions. But, yeah, so we're going to see, wow, really nice play right there, using those, getting the Destroyers to eat the Water Elementals load, getting level 5 on the Lich. And here's another fight going on. Again, the Panda just done a ton of damage, lots of AoE. Although, I mean, the flying machines aren't doing bad right now, but they're all so low. There's just not enough of them. And yeah, there's really no way HawK can win this fight. He's gonna go ahead and probably end up losing that Paladin. No, it's not dying. He'll get nuked down, maybe. He says nice items. Let's take a look. I think he was talking about the scroll of whatever it's called. The scroll that gives like 300 life and 150 HP. Perfect item. Absolutely perfect item for this strategy, because it's like you need the AoE healing, and it's such a good AoE heal. So that worked out really well for HLA. Just great item, great strategy, and you know, GG. GG gets called by HawK. And it was actually a best of 3, so HLA did move on, and this was actually the quarterfinals. So if you looked at the spoiler description or whatever, then you would have known by now. If not, there you go. No more games to cast in this series. But wow, what a series of games. Those games were really good. HLA surprising me with how good he's playing right now. And coming out with some really good strategies. So that game strategy was just, that was really good. I mean, he used the map really well too. You know, I thought the Panda was kind of late because he could have gotten earlier, but he got it like a pretty good time as it turned out, because it had enough, like there was that red he could go and get enough experience that it was useful, like very soon after he bought it. But it wasn't like so soon that he crippled the nuke power that he had, so he had like a mid-game presence too with his Death Knight and his Lich. So it was really smart. Really smart play.